welcome back. We're going to look today in this video at another liquidity ratio called the quick ratio. It's very similar to the current ratio. However, we take inventory out of the equation. And the reason we do that is sometimes inventory doesn't turn as fast as we would like. It doesn't turn into cash very quickly. And so we want to be able to see, in comparison to the current ratio, what the quick ratio looks like. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey everybody, we're back taking a look again at another liquidity ratio. This time we're going to look at the quick ratio. This is also called the acid test ratio. In this one, it is exactly how we calculate the current ratio. However, this time we're going to take inventory out of the equation. And so why is that? Well, for some companies, inventory can represent a huge investment of cash. And that cash could be sitting in inventory sometimes for maybe several months. It could even be sitting in inventory for several years. So we can assume that we're turning the inventory into cash pretty quickly. But in a lot of companies, that is not exactly the case. So we look at the quick ratio to be able to see how well they can pay their bills in the short term without inventory being included. All right, so let's take a look at what that looks like. So again, these numbers for this calculation come off the balance sheet. And you want to pull off, again, the current assets and the current liabilities. And you also want to pay attention to what the inventory value is within the current assets. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So again, we're looking at Brown-Forman, and we're pulling the same total current assets line. We're pulling the same total current liabilities, but we're also going to take that inventory line that is within the total current liabilities. So for Brown-Forman in 2014, we're going to have to take into account that $882,000 that's sitting there. And again, remember, these numbers are in thousands, so all of these numbers, even though I plop them in exactly as I see them, every number on here has to have 3 zeros added to it. Okay, so let's take a look at Brown-Forman. Okay, so our current assets in 2014, again, is the same number, $2,177,000, and the current liabilities is $561,000. However, the inventory is $882,000. So we're taking $2,177,000, we're going to subtract from that $882,000, and then we will divide by $561,000. Okay, so our quick ratio is calculated as 2.31, where the current ratio that we did in the current ratio video was 3.88. So we're very happy with these numbers because both of these should be calculating out to be 1 or greater. And the higher, the better, because we feel good when we have the ability to pay that short-term debt that's sitting on our books. Just like me as an individual, I like knowing that I have enough cash in my checking account to be able to pay bills as they come due. That's the exact same thing we're taking a look at. So now let's compare Diageo. So for Diageo, their current assets in 2014 is $12,771. Their inventory is $7,219. Wow. And their current liabilities is $8,295. Okay, so we had calculated a current ratio for them of 1.54. However, our quick ratio is starting to be less than 1. Okay, so basically we're taking 12,771, we're subtracting out the 7,219, and then dividing by 8,295. And so now when we start looking at the quick ratio, we're going, oh, so inventory does have a huge impact on this number. And that's okay as long as that inventory can be turned into cash quickly. But what if it isn't? What if it doesn't turn into cash quickly? Then that could be an indicator that would cause us to want to delve further into how this company is operating. And then finally, we have Constellation Brands. And for them, in 2014, we have 2747, subtracting out inventory of 1743, current liabilities of 2025. We've calculated a current ratio for them of 1.36, 3.65, 1.7, but their quick ratio is also showing that anomaly in 2013. And again, that's something that we would want to take a look at as to what is causing that to happen. And still, right now, at least from a liquidity measure, I'm thinking that Brown-Forman is probably outperforming their competition without anything else to look at. Again, we would need to look at the 10K. We would need to delve into a little bit more as to what exactly is causing some of these numbers to look like they are. But right now, I am sort of, if I were to want to make an investing decision, I would be leaning towards the Brown-Forman. And we will get on to some more financial ratios here in a moment. I hope you're finding that doing ratio analysis is very illuminating. It can be a little frustrating too, because again, it will raise more questions than answers sometimes. But the more you delve into it and the more you get your questions answered, the better feel you have for the company and how they are healthy in their finances. All right, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.